Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another Expanse reaction video. Today I'm going to be watching, reviewing, and reacting to Season 3, Episode 10 of The Expanse. Alright, so last episode, again another crazy cliffhanger, and at the very end we witnessed Holden following Miller's advice, basically going outside of the ship and launching himself towards the, you guys are calling it control center in your comments. So I'm extremely curious to see what's about to happen in the aftermath of this. And I mean, there were some other things that were going on that episode as well, and another kind of cliffhanger situation, sort of, is that Naomi had left the Behemoth to go back to the Rossi. Of course, Holden's not going to be there now, and he hasn't told anyone what he's doing or where he's going. He just seemed to launch himself out there. But so yes, just as she is on her way back to her family on the Rossi, Holden goes off on his own on a crazy adventure. But yeah, so I think it's probably no surprise to everyone that I'm very anxious to see what happens next. So with just a quick thank you to my supporters on Patreon for your continued support, I'm going to get into episode 10 right away. Alright, here we go.
Miller told me to go to the station.
Oh, okay, he left a message.
He's already saved our asses once, so gotten you guys in enough trouble. What else is new, right? I have to do this on my own. Just stay safe. Thanks, both of you, for everything. And do not follow me. That's an order.
If you're not on the ship anymore, do your orders still stand there, Holden? Plus, you know, you take a vote on important issues. Oh my god.
After all the shit we've been through, starting to wonder if I'm cursed.
Yeah, why is that? Because out of the whole
Oh my
human
God.
race, you're the one flying through the mysterious alien artifact with the dead guy?
That.
You're just following your program. Just like me.
Program. You always had this crazy notion about free will.
Then how come it is that every time there's some clusterfuck shitstorm situation in the universe, there's James Holden shrugging shoulders saying, how the hell did I end up here?
Really pumping me up for this mission.
Yeah.
You're the patron saint of lost causes, kid. We're running from it.
So you're the one out here floating through this with talking to a dead guy? Yeah, pretty much. It is interesting, though, that Holden tends to be drawn into these situations, and sometimes it's just because of his personality, but... obviously this Miller thing is...
No. Why are you being so much like yourself? Is none of this stuff weird and you out? Want me to say this is some weird shit? Yeah. This is some weird shit. Thank you. We're out of a league here. That's been true ever since we've been sharpening sticks and going after lions. But we're still here.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Alien shit, magic gates, Naomi bugging off to go play Belter, Holden doing...
Oh, Alex.
I have no clue what Holden's doing. Me neither. I wish that I could tell you I was freaked out, but I'm not even a little. I haven't felt fear since I was 5 years old. Man, I wish I could go through life without feeling fear.
No.
You don't.
You don't, Alex. That would change everything.
Stop thinking that being in this place, that maybe this is it. Like, we're all gonna die. We are gonna die. No, all of us. Humanity.
Mm.
Back in Baltimore, I had this friend. And she said if the end ever came, she'd grab a bottle and her 2 gas and go to the roof, have a toast, and then jump. With the gas. Like a fucking pharaoh. I'd take you with me too.
My best guess is that it's a field that manipulates inertia
Like
in ways
he's
that we
his
don't
cat?
understand.
Help me get the system back online.
It's built out of protomolecule.
Yeah, but not to the record. See, they're locked, remember? So, you can, the key.
What do you need me for?
Because you exist. Okay? That's why.
You seem real enough.
Okay. Couple 100 billion brain cells in your skull. You got more synapses than stars in the universe. You are a fancy hand terminal with a lot of buttons. Mine push a few trillion of them buttons in exactly the right way. Ta-da! You're talking to Miller. Sound of his voice, the clothes he wore.
Plus a hat.
Yeah, I like the hat. Plus, I'm pushing the buttons.
So it's a magic trick.
So those are all damn reality, kid.
So who's pushing the
Just
button?
different buttons being pushed.
Protomolecule that's part of Miller?
Whoa. I'm trying to keep things simple here for you, okay? Calculus, amoeba. Monkey, Mozart.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was at that party in the flashback. Oh.
That portal opened just as Holden was getting close to this.
Or is it just a heap of protomolecule pushing my button? You're running out of time.
That's what I'm
Not
asking.
good enough. When Miller was on Eros, he could feel Julie. It's got nothing to do with Julie. Fuck you then.
For all I know, touching that thing can end up killing everyone I love.
The same people she died to save. No risk, no reward. You died together. But she was already gone, wasn't she? She couldn't feel any more pain, but you could. Did it kill you? Did it tear you apart one atom at a time? Or did you burn?
Oh. Oh god. Oh no.
Julie told me this
Oh,
crazy kid story.
he's talking about Julie.
She said, when a child dies, this sort of angel takes their hand and falls halfway, so they wouldn't be afraid. I tried to be the angel, but I was so scared. So, she held my hand. And I told her, if you fall with me, it ain't gonna be for halfway.
It's good to see you, Miller.
Why would you think that would work when the bullets didn't work? Oh shit! Now it sees everything as a threat. Oh.
Now we're never home.
What is happening? different worlds. They're being destroyed. Ah! What? Oh my god. What was that? Well, another insane cliffhanger. I didn't think that they could top, in terms of insanity, the cliffhanger from the last episode, but they have managed to do it. Oh my god. So, honestly, the big things the primary things that I was going to talk about from this episode largely centered around, you know, Holden and Miller's conversations, and then that scene with Alex and Amos, and then all that happened at the end. And now my mind is like blown. So I mean, I'm gonna talk about those things that I just mentioned, but then I gotta try to sort through some of what I've just seen here, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to without seeing the next episode. I don't think I'm gonna really be able to understand much, but okay, so just briefly, a couple things. One, I'm enjoying seeing Bobby back. I've missed her, and I'm glad to see her here. I'm glad they've been able to bring her back into the storyline, into the action. Yeah, I've missed her. I miss Prax and Avasarala. You know, we haven't really seen her for most of the second half of the season. She hasn't really been around either. We've seen a couple clips of her giving speeches, but that's it. So a lot of pretty prominent characters from last season and even part of this season, you know, are not around anymore. And so I'm glad to see Bobby. Only really had a small amount of time with Alex and Amos, but I thought that it was interesting watching them both. I mean, obviously we had a bit of insight, more insight into Amos's backstory put in there and his general perspective on things, but I think it was largely interesting, both of them, the way they were acting, to put them in part of like a larger collection of different characters for most of this episode, where we were watching how they handle and react to an insane situation and crisis like this, that this sort of situation that no one could ever imagine. So Alex is frightened, is kind of wanting to just freeze, is paralyzed, he's not really sure what to do. He doesn't want to take any action because he feels like we don't know what's going on and I'm just scared and overwhelmed. You have Amos, who is just like trying to stick with what he normally would do. He's staying himself in the moment. He's like, all right, well, again, yes, this is all insane. This is all beyond our understanding or ability, but so is pretty much everything that we've been doing since we've all come together here. Everything that's happened to us over the past however long it's been since the beginning of the show. And beyond that, you know, everything is always beyond human beings, but people move forward, people take action, that's what they do. You just do it. And yeah, we are gonna die eventually, so we might die doing this, that might happen, but that doesn't mean that you don't do anything. And in fact, if there's a certainty that you're going to die, might as well take the initiative yourself and die the way that you want to. So he told that story about his friend and her cats, and then equated Alex to the cats. But point being, very, very different and very much aligns with both of their general kind of perspectives on life, it seems. Then you have Naomi, whose instinct is to rush back to and try to protect and care for the people she loves. Makes perfect sense to me. Then you have Holden, who is following his kind of, I don't know if it's just instinctual drives, or if it's fate, as Miller was kind of trying to insinuate. Although Miller didn't really refer to it as fate, he referred to it as programming. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. But just, quickly, a couple other people, and then we also have the one soldier who ended up killing himself, obviously because of panic and just wanting to escape. So that's a very different reaction. And then you have someone like Anna, who is excited and embracing it and wanting to like see everything. So again, just saying that I thought it was interesting. They've got a lot of very different characters here, and they've shown kind of their reactions to this. They've done a good job, I think, of showing the variety of ways people could react to a crazy situation like this. So, but anyway, so getting back to the programming thing, that was one of the other things originally I was going to spend some time, I think, thinking through and talking about, which was I found the discussion between Miller and Holden about that fairly interesting. Because the protomolecule, we've talked about it before, about if it, has a goal. It obviously says it always talked about the work, and if so, what was it? What is its purpose? Is it something that, has agency, or is it something that, say, is programmed, has something that it's supposed to do? And so it's interesting to then look at that and then apply that to human beings as well, as basically the Miller, if that's Miller, did to Holden, saying, well, maybe it's not agency. You're saying you have free will, that sort of idea is important to you, but perhaps, look at everything that's happened to you, how you're constantly drawn into these situations. Perhaps it's actually something that it was destined to be, and whether that's kind of a fate in the religious sense that someone like Anna would say, or programming in that conceptual idea, we don't know. But I just thought that was something that was interesting to think about. And yet Holden is still saying no, he has a belief in free will and choice, and is pushing on that a little bit nonetheless. And then I liked that they really got into a discussion of, are you Miller, the Miller that I knew? Are you a version of him that was rebuilt by the protomolecule after you were taken apart by it and you were just reassembled with his consciousness, or are you just kind of a image of Miller that they're putting out there, specifically they or it, whatever it is, whoever they are, the protomolecule, to make me do what it wants me to do because it believes that I will listen to you and follow you. And it seemed like Holden was uncertain, suspicious about this, partially because, because he knows that Miller died, but partially because he also wasn't fully acting like himself and seeming like he didn't understand what was going on. And then he kind of presses him there when it gets closer to the end. He pushes him to talk about his death, to think about Julie, when earlier he had said, I don't want to talk about Julie, I don't want to think about Julie. And when he finally does, then he starts opening up again, and Holden starts thinking, okay, this actually is Miller. So this seems to be, it is some sort of form of Miller that is existing, in whether it's, just because his consciousness is still there, or if it's, I don't know, it's hard, but it seems to be that there's some sort of remnant of Miller, the entity, that does continue to exist and is there, and the protomolecule has built him and put him there for its purposes. And its purpose apparently was to bring Holden there into the control center so that he could insert his hand into that sort of structure to complete it, which is what Miller was saying, so that it could show him whatever it showed him. I don't know if it was, and here's where I really don't know. Things start getting crazy with everything in the end of the episode, but I don't know if it was just kind of trying to connect to his consciousness so that he could see things. It was delivering, and I don't know if this was supposed to be delivering a message, or if it needed something from him as well that it got. I don't know if it does. I don't know if it got it or not, because we ended the episode right after he had that crazy vision and everything went down. yeah, but he seemed to have seen a large variety of things. So it showed a bunch of images that to me made it seem as though he was connecting or like tapping into the protomolecules, kind of, if it has a consciousness or memory or whatever it is. Maybe if it's supposedly something that's programmed, if you think of it like a computer system, maybe tapping into its files and resources, everything that it has saved. I don't know. But so you see various images of things like the crashing to Venus and the kind of jellyfish blob and the creating of the ring. But then we saw a bunch of other things. We saw various other circles that looked like exits out of rings into what appeared to be different solar systems. So I don't know if this is suggesting this is some sort of like wormhole structure, or a structure that exists so that there will be multiple wormholes that it can connect to out of it. So you'd think maybe this is a way they could actually go through it and go to various different solar systems, worlds, possibly. You'd think maybe, but then we also saw a vision of a lot of those worlds seemingly being destroyed, and one seemingly being destroyed by what looked like the controls like center that they were in. So is this actually like a warning or a threat of what could possibly happen? Is it just like a premonition of what they're saying will happen? Is it because they, whatever the protomolecule is, wants to come and destroy them? Or is it just because in that moment it felt threatened by the Martian soldiers coming in and everybody, shooting and firing off and throwing grenades because they were trying to stop Holden from doing what he did? Because after that happened, it encapsulated the bullets in the little cyst things, and then it seemed to be putting up like a kind of barrier between Holden and the Martians, protective, but then the one soldier threw a grenade and it just disassembled him completely, tore him to pieces, and in the same instant that it did that, it put the little cysts around everything. All the other ships are now frozen in place as well, so I assume unable to move, unable to do anything, seen again as threats like threats like the guns and everything else. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it was a threatening message because it felt threatened and really that wasn't their original goal. Or maybe it was. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to find out. I don't know if Holden knows. But maybe he can provide some more information about this. Or maybe Miller can provide more information about what was seen there. I don't know if that was the end goal. Even Miller himself seemed to say he didn't know if that was the end goal or if they'd just be getting another clue. Maybe we'll find out. I don't know. But it seems to me like pretty much everyone is in a fairly bad position at the end of this episode, with the possible exception of Holden, but maybe not. Maybe he's not an exception. Maybe he's in a bad place too. I don't know. But seems like everyone else is in a pretty solid amount of danger, if not actively been injured from what just happened. So very curious to see what happens going forward. Very interested. Yeah, so I'm not sure how much you guys can really even say at this point without giving stuff away. So, I mean, if you do have comments, questions, please do feel free to leave them. But like I said, I'm not sure how much you could say without actively giving away information that I hope will be coming in the future. But there's only a handful of episodes left, so maybe some of it is stuff that isn't even revealed this season. I don't know. But with my complete and utter bafflement, I'm gonna wrap this video up, leave it here. So, alright guys, thank you very much for joining me today and sitting through my ramblings about my confusion, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye!